He's doing the Jada. He's doing the Jada right now. They might take this. Cash Money might take this just off of the stage presence. All right, that was fire. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. That was actually fire, man. Now, here's my thoughts and reactions on it, man. Now, I love that Versus is back. You know what I'm saying? Versus is back, and that's fire. The songs, for some reason, I wish that they played a lot more of the bangers that I feel like I should have remembered from No Limit side, but I still liked what it had. But I feel like No Limit was missing a few star players. Like, they was missing Mystical, obviously. Mia X held it down for them, which I was definitely fucking with. You know what I mean? Mia X was definitely the stage presence, and P did his thing as well, too. Silk did his thing, too. So they definitely had dudes that had the stage presence, but they was missing a superstars. It was unfortunate that Snoop came out at the end, which was whatever, you know what I'm saying, because he's had multiple tracks with them, but I think his bangers were definitely from Death Row, but he was featured on a lot of things. I wish they would have threw like the No Limit remix in there. I mean, make them say remix in there. I wish they would have threw a little bit of like The Last Dawn off of there with some Snoop tracks like nigga, let's slide to the side where them riders ride. Boom, boom, boom on your bitch ass. Like, I wish they would have played that a little bit. That's my personal favorite. And then I think there was another one that they had that was a fire Snoop verse off of that, too. This is all off The Last Dawn. But good little mix, too. I didn't know that. You ain't gotta say too much by the look in your eyes. I can tell you wanna fuck. I didn't know that was from No Limit. I had no idea. But shout out to them. They won with that. Now, I think Cash Money had a lot more bangers than No Limit, though. I will say that. I will say that they had a lot more bangers in there, but I was definitely banging with No Limit, you know what I mean, as far as it goes. But they surprised me. I thought they was about to smoke Cash Money low key, but then they busted out them heaters, dog. And I said, God damn. So going into Cash Money had it all, man. They had the full package, bro. Like, they had the stage presence, they had the bangers, you know what I'm saying? The Juvie for me, Juvie had that presence like Jadakiss did when it was Dipset versus the Lox. Like, he just took over the stage, and they had the superstar power. That's the one thing I think No Limit was missing from their side, was that superstar power. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had a bunch of artists, and your biggest star was P and Silk, and then Snoop, but Snoop wasn't even as big as a star with No Limit particularly, so it doesn't really work out for No Limit in that situation, which is funny when you see it play out in the verses and you go back and look and be like, okay, what matches up with what? But yeah, I think Cash Money smoked it. Now the Culture won. You know what I'm saying? The Culture won. That was definitely a thing for that. The Culture definitely won. We definitely took care of business with that. You know, it definitely was a nostalgic feel and everything. But if we're going to score it out and say who took over the verses, I'm going to go Cash Money. And I didn't realize how much of a Cash Money guy that I actually was until they started playing a lot more of their songs. And I'm like, yeah, I was definitely fucking with it. I think it's just more or less I liked the No Limit, make them say, and in their movies and stuff. But Cash Money definitely might have been the better record label as far as producing stars, producing hits, producing bangers. But No Limit kind of paved the way. And, you know what I'm saying, they walked. You know, No Limit walked so Cash Money could run and take over this shit. You know what I mean? And like, they took a little bit of the blueprint from how the Lox did Dipset. They was like, yeah, y'all did this and blah 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 blah, but we changed the world with this. So it was little aspects of that battle on the stage was something that I was definitely rocking with to the max. Was that they knew how to transition into the next song so people could get more amped. Because every time they transition, they'd match banger for banger. Just when you thought No Limit had it, they said, all right, that's cool, that's sweet. But we got the bangers that changed the world. And once you start throwing that change the world, or we, you know, like Jada said, we got stuff for the ladies too, nigga. You know, once you start doing that, it changes the whole shape of the show. But overall, the Culture won. Everybody won. There was no losses in this as far as the Culture. But as far as matching up track for track, song for song, I definitely got to go with Cash Money for sure. You know, I went into this thinking No Limit was going to dust them, but they reminded me, just like I feel like they probably reminded the world that, nah, motherfucker, we got bangers and we got hits. So great way to bring back verses. My only gripe from the verses, though, is that it started at 5:30. I know we be on some CPT, you know what I'm saying? I know we be on some shit. And I thought because it's 2025 that we'd be a little better with like getting this shit going on time and getting a little bit more out of it. Because it started at 5:30 and you see it started like 8, like the actual show. And then we got into like, it got an hour of good stuff. But, you know, I would hope that next time they do this, that they're not wasting our time, but giving us this large anticipation and only giving us an hour. I would like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. You know what I'm saying? I would like a little bit longer out of that. But way to bring it back. And I feel like it should have been a little bit more organized, considering that it's not, COVID involved. Because, I feel like they started more on time and got shit going during the pandemic time. So this is kind of crazy that we only got an hour out of that. But overall, the show was good, well produced. The culture won. I'm here for it. Like I said, I was all about that Cash Money, No Limit stuff, man. But I guess, once again, I conclude that I'm a Cash Money guy, clearly, because I was bumping way harder to Cash Money than I was No Limit. But I always loved and respected No Limit for what they did. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Just let me know what y'all thought out of this versus, dog. Do y'all want to see more verses? And who do y'all want to see for the next verses? Because it looks like they bringing this back to be a thing. And I'm a big fan of that. But I'm here for it, dog. I am 1,000% here for it. That was a win for the culture, dog. Shout out hip hop. Big shout out to Down South Hip Hop too. And those are two legendary record labels too. So I'm hoping that they go another route with a record label going against each other as far as music goes. Shit, if you want to be real, let's get ballsy. It would be fire if they did a Bad Boy versus Death Row versus for that would really bring the culture together. That would really, really change things, I think. I don't know what strings people got to pull or how that works, but imagine because this is record labels. So imagine a Death Row versus Bad Boy since we're doing this. I'm going to conclude right there. Should we see a Death Row versus Bad Boy? Let's talk about it. We out of here. Peace.